right, so here we are with another episode of Behind the Scenes with the cast of Kronos and Kin. Um, Second cast member here, Andrew, and yeah, I'm gonna let him go right into introducing himself here in a second. But first, audio quality is a little off. Like I said in the last video, mic test is this coming weekend, the weekend after Father's Day, for our new lapel and over the ear mics. So audio quality will be better. Hang in there with us. I know it's kind of crappy, but we'll move on. But without further ado, Andrew.
Yeah, my name's Andrew. I'm a big nerd. I like to play video games. I play card games. I'm big into the Final Fantasy series
Mm-hmm.
and just RPGs in general. I just completed Expedition 33 a couple weeks back. I just enjoyed that one.
Okay. So I put on our webpage that you are an FFTCG savant.
I
And yeah, gotta make fun of ourselves. But so your love of Final Fantasy, I know, started back when we were kids with the release of Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation, and that's PlayStation 1 for the young people out there. And obviously now there's been the remakes and stuff like that. But what is it that draws you into Final Fantasy as a genre?
I the storytelling more than anything. A lot of the older Final Fantasy games just had a very rich storytelling environment, very diverse characters. One of the most popular Final Fantasy games is Final Fantasy VI. Because it had a cast of like 15 characters, all unique from one another, all had a very, very, very deep backstory, very
Mm-hmm.
deep lore to them. So I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with that kind of genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, my favorite was Final Fantasy IX because I felt that connection between those characters more than I think any other Final Fantasy. Which Final Fantasy game is your favorite?
That's a tough one, because the generic answer is Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
But my other answer is something like Final Fantasy 16, which I know is not always on people's favorite one, despite it being the most recent, because it felt very much not like a Final Fantasy game to the older generation. But to me, it was still a good game.
Okay. And that's the great thing about opinions, right? You can enjoy something outside of what people expect. And so let's kind of venture off into Final Fantasy, the trading card game.
Yep.
So you've done a couple of tournaments, and you are like an avid collector. You have so much of every set. Yeah. Um, what is it about the Final Fantasy trading card game, seeing how this is a tabletop gaming channel, that draws you to it more than, let's say, its competitors Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic, right?
For me, it's part of the community. The Pokemon community, while the people that are actually deep into it are great, there's a lot of just bad apples that just ruin it. Especially right now with the way it is, everything's so expensive just to get. Places are usually sold out. For Final Fantasy, the community's great. Plus, I get to like pseudo experience playing my favorite game in a card game and potentially winning, or even just playing what I play right now, which is the Warrior Light deck, which was what the first game called the main characters was the Warriors of Light, which is the very first game, which is also based off of D&D. You look at the elements of the first Final Fantasy game. There are 4 people that have random jobs that you can pick from, you can add names to, and you go out questing.
Right.
On an adventure, you have a quest to go save Princess Sarah, then you have to go beat Garland, and then you have to go through all these villages, cities to end up somewhere back where we started.
Right. Okay. So the whole realm of questing and adventuring and all the uniqueness that ties into your characters that you like for the card game, and then the potential to play as like your favorite character, embody your favorite character.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Now, for our channel is kind of a if people want it, and we'll try a few episodes if you want to, but a Final Fantasy TCG maybe some unboxing, maybe some deck building, maybe some playing, a couple of people playing each other with decks and kind of explaining cards and why and what and how.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you'd be willing to venture into for the channel?
Yeah, I could do something like that.
Okay.
Sure.
So our channel is Kronos and Kin, and I chose that for time and family, right? We're here playing tabletop games as a family, as friends, and we have limited time on Earth to be with each other, so it's kind of that mentality that led to the name of the channel. What does that kind of mean to you with the aspect of Kronos and Kin?
Family's been something I've always really cared about, even if it's never actually shown.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to sit down with the people that we do have,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to spend what little time we have on this planet with them is very important. We're here for a short time, not
Right.
for a long time.
Right.
So, and while we're here, we might as well have fun and be around each other and make memories that, while at the end of the day, don't matter, it matters to us.
Right. And that's coming from you as my brother, right? So you live with my wife and son and me. And so we have more of a different dynamic of family, I think, than most do with extended family living together. Okay, so I want to venture over a little to Grunen, who is your character, and people can see on the screen what he looks like. This big, masculine dwarf. Why don't you explain more about Grunen to us that you're willing to share right now?
Sure. So I'll be playing a character named Grunen. He is a barbarian. He fought in the Orcish War a lot, and an event happened during that Orcish War that more or less exiled him, not just from fighting, but from his family, from his friends, from anyone he's known, and he kind of from there just said, "I'm kind of done," and went and did his own thing for a little bit, and then what was his name?
Thorin. Mm-hmm.
Thorin. I can't remember what his name was. One of the old adventurers of all time. He caught back up with me. He knew who the real me was, and so he said, "Hey, I got a gig. Come try it out." So I did, and then from there, I just kind of did my own thing for a bit, and Thorin kind of dipped out, and I kept doing it. And at some point in time, I stopped and kind of stepped back, and just again became a wanderer, more or less, and just did my own thing yet again.
Okay. So that thing you kind of did, we'll explain that a little bit. So Thorin brought you into a mercenary guild after the war a little bit to, he saw your capabilities, one, and two, you guys were kind of brother at arms, right? So there's a friendship there between you and Thorin, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. What does Grunen look like?
Grunen is a dwarf in nearly every aspect of it. He's very much that muscular rock-minded gremlin that you would imagine a dwarf to be.
Mm-hmm.
The only real outstanding feature outside of that is the fact that he's taller than most dwarves. He's taller than the tallest dwarves you've probably seen, given that his mother was human, given how fact that dwarves tend to not take on the features or traits of anything outside of dwarves. He somehow manages to get that extra bit of height that sets him above the rest, literally.
Right, and that probably helped with all aspects of his career, being in the military, than a mercenary. He's much more of a presence as a dwarf.
Yep, it's much more intimidating seeing a tall masculine dwarf versus a shorter masculine dwarf, which is what you would expect.
Okay. What are some things that are absolutely intolerable to Grunen? Like personality, like he sees it and he's done.
Betrayal.
Betrayal, okay.
He does not like betrayal at all. It sets him off more than anything. It sets him away. He would rather distance himself than have any sort of interaction with the person that betrays.
Okay. What are a couple of things you would like to see out of this campaign as maybe as what Grunen would want to see, and then what you would want to see?
What Grunen would like to see is to have his name cleared from the books of any wrongdoing of what had happened in the war. He doesn't want his title. He doesn't want his fame. He doesn't want anything back. He just wants his name cleared, and that's all he cares about.
Okay.
As far as what I would want, I just want to have fun.
Okay.
That's what D&D is all about: is having fun, enjoying the presence, and making jokes amongst friends and family.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll obviously get more of Grunen, Noblefinger, the Barbarian, Dwarf, as we play and we do world building and stuff. Um, I've given you over the last few days kind of snippets into the world of Velkarth, the world in which we live in. You've received a map recently, your backstory. As we've gone through kind of things you've wanted, I've put in those DM touches of, something's going on. Um, what is interesting you about the upcoming campaign? What's kind of drawing you in to want to play this?
So the initial thing that drew me in was the fact that we called it Chronos in Kin, which Chronos is a time god in some lores. So for me, there's obviously some time shenanigans going on, whether or not we're all from the same time period or from separate time periods pulled into the same time period, or has no relation at all. That's just what it happens to be.
That's fair. And I think that's going to keep, I hope that's going to keep people coming back for more like, is there something going on? Why is the word Chronos the first word of this? And that's kind of by design, but also tying in that time and that family time aspect of what we're trying to give in this channel. And to further that, so we all, because we're friends and family, we all come from different backgrounds and we're contributing to the channel in different ways. So like I've said in a previous video, I'm the guy that 3D prints and paints and builds and stuff like that. I'm the guy that is writing the story for you guys, because I have the stuff in my head and I'm trying to get it out onto paper because I think it's a cool story. And then in the real world, every day, I'm an IT professor, structured cabling. We've got an AV tech. We've got a help desk tech. You're an AV integrator. And then we have our homemaker. And talking to her yesterday, she was talking about how her main focus is to not let us get hangry. What are you bringing to the channel with your real world experiences to help make the channel grow?
My goal is to make sure that this channel can be widely watched by everybody. Of course, the channel may gear more towards an adult audience, as it is, because D&D as itself is more of an adult theme. I mean, obviously, drugs, alcohol, sex are just part of the world building of some games. My goal is to, while still potentially have that, but limit it in a way, capacity that a younger audience, if they wanted to, that's D&D, that sounds like fun, we want to do it.
Right, we're not getting into the debauchery of everything and we're not going to go in depth on sexual encounters. At least try not to, unless it's serves a purpose in the story, right? Like so many stories pull away from actual storytelling to hit these points that not everyone can enjoy because they're so far in left field and they hit them for so long and then they come back and it's like, okay, that had nothing to do with the story.
Just to keep the story in line. I mean, obviously, crude jokes are going to come out.
Yeah, we're all working adults. We have a sense of humor. We drink. We smoke.
We're bringing real world into the fantasy world. That's part of it.
Right. So I asked this question to Whitney yesterday, and I'm doing an unboxing of the Twisted Cryptids game for the channel, for the board game side of the channel. What is one board game out of the board games we've played that you so far is on your favorite list?
Of the ones that we have actually played and I've sat down and played, I believe the Bloodborne board game is what you and I played that I really enjoyed. I'm not as big into physical board games as I am just metaphorical board game. D&D is a tabletop game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like I'm set by a bound set of rules to follow these strict rules. D&D obviously has its own rules, but that's what homebrew's for.
Right. And there's a lot of homebrew aspects to our campaign. And they'll, as they come afoot, we'll explain them. I don't want to. I think a lot of it would give a story away if I explain them now. And then also, out of all the games that we have, which one would you enjoy seeing done as kind of an unboxing, a playthrough kind of game?
One we haven't touched yet, that you and I technically both own, is the Final Fantasy.
I don't have it's over on the other shelf, so it's the Final Fantasy TTRPG game.
Yeah, that
Okay.
one, which is basically D&D life from what I've seen thus
Mhm.
far.
Yeah, because it was just so far we only have like the beginning box for it, and I don't know if any more contents come out for it or not.
I believe it's only that.
Okay. So at some point you would like to see maybe do a campaign of that as another thing we offer on the channel. Okay. I think that's all I have for now, unless there was anything else you wanted to say.
No,
No?
I can think of, no.
All right, so just remember, we're Kronos and Kin at kronosandkin.com. Website's coming along great if you haven't checked it out. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Kronos and Kin on all three. And the logo's the same. It's a wizard and knight holding the arms of a clock. And we have a Patreon, Kronos and Kin. $3 a month gets you a week early access to each episode of the Kronos and Kin campaign. And then it gets you into the private Discord channel that will have all of us in it. And we can chit chat, talk about things that happened in an episode together, or where you guys think we went wrong, which we probably won't listen to it, but you can tell us. And then tell us where we went right, and we'll, of course, wholeheartedly accept all the compliments. But until next time, this is Kronos and Kin. We had Andrew on today. Next is going to be Brandon and Tim. And we'll see where it goes. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.